What is this thing called again?
What have you been doing for 7 episodes?
I'm glad you exist.
If I can.
So can you. That might be treasure. I'm glad you exist. And if I can, so can you. Today's topic is joy. Said in many different ways across the world, expressed in similar ways in different ones, joy is a galaxy of different pleasures and wonders. It can come from small things, from interactions, from people just saying, "Good morning, how are you?" Immediately when I say that sentence, I think of Maya Angelou, because she has done some fantastic work, and I think it's worth any human being's time to research the work, because you'll come off a better human being from her hearing her words. She understands a great deal about love. And also quoting where I've got that information from, because, I will stand on the top of buildings and shout out Maya Angelou. Joy is a wondrous thing to find in the universe. If you have the ability to create this, or to find it, to identify it, or to experience it, then you are in a wonderful, wonderful place. Never be complacent about the joy you have, because life is a strange and cruel mule who might snatch it away. But that's what makes joy special, and something that we should go for, look for, produce for others. So what joy looks like. Joy can be planned. Joy can be spontaneous, though. You could be in a swimming pool with somebody and you start splashing and it becomes fun and everybody's having that joke. It's all sorts of things. Joy can be unwrapping a thoughtful gift. It can also be the surprise of getting a handmade gift. Shout out for handmade gifts. For me, I really enjoy, if I introduce one friend to another friend, knowing both of those friends, seeing how their interests could play together, and then watching everything bloom in front of me. One of my favourite things in the world, and that's joy. The creation of joy, the thought behind joy, and how joy can serve different needs at different times. Joy can be fleeting, so I ask you, do not let go of your joy, and try and find it wherever you can. It can come from just a surprise. Maybe you've won on a scratch card or something. It can also be found when you're in the company of good people. Just the joy of existing, where you can only focus on the thing that is happening currently. That, to me, is joy. And joy can be a moment that stands out. And I can tell you, a moment of joy a day can really help break up the things which are not joy, that we have to do because coins pay rent. So how do we manifest joy? By doing the things we love with people we love. We do them with friends. We do them with any kind of person. You can get joy out of misunderstandings. That's a wonderful place of joy. You can both be called the same name. Somebody calls out that name. You both respond. You look at each other, go, "What a wonderful name," and you laugh. It's spontaneous. It's really something that can be scripted, it can be unscripted, but it's just this wonderful thing that we as humans get to experience. And it's gorgeous and it's beautiful. Synonyms for days, and there again, joy.
There's one thing that I learned of what really brings me joy. It's the little things. Just enjoying a hot chocolate. They can be very joyful.
Yeah, the little things can be joyful. Feeding ducks.
Feeding ducks.
Feeding ducks is joy. I find joy in feeding ducks. Oxytocin, that's the chemical that's experienced when feeling joy. You get it off hugs, you get it off other things in higher doses if you're close enough to someone.
10-second hugs.
10-second hugs really brings out the oxytocin. As an example, do have long hugs with your friends. Obviously, get some consent if you're going to hold on to somebody for 10 seconds, Just those moments, they can break up a day. Being able to just breathe and just experience something nice and wholesome. There is no guilt or shame or going for your joy or creating that joy. There are obviously limits, laws and other things that you should be very mindful, because your joy might not spark the joy of others. We'd like to think that you might be sensible enough to know what is good joy. And go for it. I'm going to talk about one of the most joyous things that I ever experienced. So, spoilers, I overthink a bit. I get a bit overthinky at night, but sometimes if I've experienced something really nice, I do overthink about it. And that's wonderful. Just overthinking about joy, like, wow, that was amazing. I hope that happens again. I was part of a volunteer project. And in 2016, the volunteer project all met in Berlin. There was one point where there was about 100 of us. It was amazing what joy was bringing us, what we were doing. We were all talking to each other. From different countries they were gathered as well. And we were all trying to understand each other and relate. And there was some physicality that we used, like hugging and also visual jokes and other ways of just reaching out to each other. And there was one point where we were in a park and one of the volunteers had brought a gramophone and started playing 1940s music. It was things I'd heard in English, but they were in German. And I thought that was absolutely magic. It was wonderful seeing everybody talking to everybody else, smiling, sharing cake, sharing grapes. And it felt like, for a moment, I could see what the universe was about. Because there were a number of us who had been talking, because at that time I was very much in pain for different reasons, and others were experiencing pain, both emotional and physical. And we commented that we were around each other and we weren't experiencing those pains. We weren't thinking about them. We weren't needing to take the pills to manage them. We had a break from the negativity in life. And we had that for 2 weeks. And it was life-changing. It really helped motivate positive steps that I took after that time. But having those shared moments with people who were part of my tribe, my wider tribe, a tribe that was subscribing to the way I think, the way I believe, it was gorgeous. It was just really pleasant, and it was such a sight as well. One of the magical things that joy can do. If you really dedicate time and space to joy and how to create it and how to create it for others, you will unlock some really special stuff. It can open up a lot of doors for you. The thing that I have done, for different groups, I've created pub nights that focus on a little bit of joy and a little bit of, breathing for different groups. Sharing this magical moment with everyone has been brilliant for them, brilliant for me as well, because when you're the creator of the joy, you get to see how other people experience that joy. And if you can live vicariously, if you can live imagining how they are feeling and seeing their faces and seeing their words, seeing their actions, seeing them cry with joy, then that is a special kind of joy that you feel, because you can think, wow, I did something to help make that. And it just, it's such paradise. It's why I get very confused when I see people fighting on buses. Coming here today, I saw, it was awful. It was somebody on the back of the bus. I never pulled a nasty face at you. The other person going, you did shut up. It's terrible that people can get into that kind of fuss rather than just going, well, I'm sorry if I've offended you in any sort of way. And then you could both laugh and go, okay, well, no worries then. It's all fun and games me judging from an ivory tower where I have this kind of accent and I've had different life experiences and I'm not as young as I used to be. And it's not fair where I'm judging because I've got a number of decades of tools which I've learned through being that kid, being gobby at the back of a bus. And they haven't. But I know that it's the thing that we can do to help young people by having conversations, even going into a situation going like that and going, hey, where's the joy in this? Ask yourself in any situation that you encounter, where is the joy? Especially if you're trying to organise something, or there's a birthday, or there's some other wonderful event that is going down. Ask yourself, where's the joy? Because in that question, it produces a map. Because you might know what joy looks like. So you follow that map, that question why and where it leads you. And you might even find that little part of the universe that you can tap into and erupt this moment that defines the day, this vigor, this wonderful mess of wonder and joy and blah. So it can be something that can be tapped into and shared with those around you. And that's, I think, the trick to life. There are probably studies, but from where I'm standing, I don't think people who are not looking for joy necessarily live longer. I think joy has a way of dulling pain. I think it has a way of elongating life because you know that the next thing that you're going to find is beautiful. So if you're living every day thinking, what's joyous tomorrow? What's that? If you want to obsess over anything, look for the joy in stuff. You can take that to the bank. Because every time I do things like volunteering, I find a lot of joy in volunteering. There is a lot of joy because there's actually nothing else. Giving your time up selflessly without remuneration, you have to really consider, what does this activity give you? If you come away with a smile or go, that was a great day, or I really like doing that, or I got a real buzz from helping people, or maintaining an allotment, or visiting folk that you didn't even know. Maybe it's a program for helping the elderly. Whatever it is, if you enjoyed it, then you might consider that that is the payment. Because I can tell you, there are lots of people who do things that get paid for it that they don't enjoy. And as much as I'm moving away from joy and moving on to volunteering, because I really love volunteering, some groups that I've encountered that are still volunteers on a volunteer basis, and that I love, because the experiences, the shared history that you create with the people around you, they can lead to all sorts of joy. Especially when you get on the same page as everybody else, and then you all start to, instead of being a cacophony of different voices, you all start singing the same song. And then it becomes a harmony, a choir. And your joy can refract and rebound and be shone back at you. And it can have almost like a catalyst, a doubling effect. I like it when there's a happy birthday. Or there's somebody starts laughing. Nobody knows why. An infectious laugh. Oh, live for them. Joy, joy, joy. Joy makes strong, lasting connections. People who have joy as part of their journey, they get this almost glow when thinking about people. I certainly have a number of people who, when I think of them, I think joy. And it is the prominent thought I have for that person, and a prominent thought that I have for a number of people, is that when I'm going to see them, something brilliant is going to happen. And it's that anticipation as well, because you get joy thinking about joy. If you're lucky enough to be in those kind of situations or that headspace. As much as it's intangible, but all forms of joy are valid. And it's not my place to say that the joy you experience from completing a video game or doing a TikTok is any less than the joy I feel for going randomly on a bus and other people just going, what the hell's that noise?
Is that what you do?
It's actually something I just thought of. I'm going to do it when I go home.
Love it.
Just randomly. There are like headspaces that I get into where it just becomes like that. There used to be a thing I used to do on buses when I was younger called bus surfing.
Oh, I've done that, where you stand up and you surf.
Yeah, and you surf.
I've done it on the tube as well in London, even though I was not younger. Well, I was younger, but not that young.
Yeah. Oh, it was great fun surfing, because I used to get the bus from the place I lived to another village down the road. And sometimes I'd be on that bus alone and I would just stand in the middle of it and it was my own personal bus. Can't get that anymore because, I live in a city now. But, and also they'd lock me away. But, joy can be made by yourself. You can have those joyous moments with yourself. And they are valid and they are beautiful and they are important. Go and experience the joy.
I just thought of another example. So you randomly find a hopscotch. I cannot resist. I have to do the jump.
I have a similar reaction to it. I always do. I actually, when I see hopscotch on the floor, I read it as the law.
Yes, you have to.
I'm just like, somebody wrote this. Somebody made this and it has clear intention. Well, it's much like when you see any green sign above a door that says exit. If it was just a green sign, I'd know that's the exit. That's a language that we all share. Between a people having an idea of culture, we all share that kind of harmonic to go, I recognise that. I recognise that as this and I will do the thing accordingly. And also I think we owe it to our inner child to hopscotch. To do the entire thing, no matter what shape it is or if the numbers are back to front or anything else. I think it really is almost like...
I will go out of my way to do it.
I wonder if that's programming from experiences you've had, because I've played a game or two on a console. Side quest. Obvious side quest. You tic-tac-toe. Can you still tic-tac-toe? I feel that the act of doing something like that is almost like sending a letter to my inner child going, I remember what it was like to be you. I remember how fun it was. And that's a moment of personal joy. When you do something, it's like going to something like Laser Quest. Oh, I love Laser Quest, but I like it on two levels. One, iconography is quite terrible for this, but you get to shoot your friends. Not literally, with the laser pad and the things that make them vibrate, and we all have a laugh. You can also do it to strangers, which is I find a little bit uncomfortable, but at the same time I do savour the ability to be part of a team and play safely. And there is joy in that. There's the joy in teamwork as well, as being part of something. And I think that's actually a lot of our episodes have centred around being parts of groups and things, which is a complete projection of my preference of existence, which is being parts of groups. I like that. Which isn't to say that if you are not part of a group, that A, you won't find one, or B, that it isn't any less fun to be on your own, because I know some pretty cool kids that enjoy their company far more than the company that I can give them, which is good enough, and it's cheaper. But again, joy is accessible. Joy can be used to make things, to make moments, to make events, to help guide to another adventure. If you acknowledge the joy in the tasks you do, maybe you'll see that you enjoy things a little bit more than other things. You might even want to pursue that so much that it might be a career that you get into, a job, a location, anything, a person. I personally use joy as a compass. It navigates me to different places.
We talked about it before, but also being in darker places. And there are sometimes days where you get home from work or whatever you spend your time with and you're just exhausted. And joy is what saves you. What do you do to get yourself out of those moments where you go, I need a minute to find my joy again and continue?
What do I do to get out of those headspaces? I think knowing myself and spending an awful long time getting to really know myself, it really depends on the flavour of the mood. I mean, I was thinking whilst you were talking, hangovers.
Right, yeah.
One of the things I do, because if you're drinking a lot of depressants, one of the things it can leave you with is a feeling of depression. But one of the things I do is I watch comedy. I watch comedy when I'm hungover and I just laugh because I know that laughter and having oxytocin in my system, that's what I do to save myself. Your body is quite clever. It tells you different things. If you don't know where the depression is coming from, you don't know where that negativity is coming from, do a couple of things. 1. Drink water. Dehydration can give the illusion of depression. Your brain doesn't work as efficiently. I make sure before I even do this, talking on air, I make sure that I'm hydrated. Because then my brain is working at full capacity. I know what I'm going to say, or at least I give the impression I do. And which is worth it. Oh, wow, nailed it. So we've done staying hydrated. There's also the simple act of cleaning yourself. Cleaning yourself, it's a way of actually speaking to yourself and saying, I am worthy to be clean. As I've experienced, and I'm sure many have, is that when you are depressed, you just stop caring about your outward appearance because it's not important, because it only does a fraction of justice for how you feel inside. But I find that a shower, drinking fluid as well, and also eating, because you're trying to give your body the fuel. And I don't mean excessively or things. I mean like get your apples on, get your bananas in, fruit, veg, stuff that naturally your body goes, oh, that's so nice. But that's me trying to find joy in different things. To answer your question in less than a minute, I check my base needs, which are the feelings of being unclean, hungry, or thirsty. I take care of all three, and then I ask myself, okay, where is this coming from? Then I get to explore what is making me unhappy and try to remedy it. I do it until I feel that it's complete, so I can really get that out of my system. I don't do it in halves. It needs to be done fully. Sometimes you don't get the luxury of doing it fully. Sometimes you don't get the luxury of actually resolving your situation because it's something out of your control.
This is where stress comes from.
Yeah, that is where stress lives and how stress grows. And that's terrible. And if you're in that situation, I wish you strength. And I'm so sorry you're in that place. And I hope that it is very short-lived.
So this is the final episode of this season.
What did you say final?
The last episode of the season.
Yeah, this is the end of this season.
Of this season.
Next season, Llamas, sponsorship by Marmite.
As a kind of a thank you to you, this has been 7 episodes, and I've taken immense joy out of each and every one of them. So thank you.
Thank you immensely. And don't forget that this would not have happened without you. Because you're the one who looked at me and said, hey, you're saying stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'll say some more. So rather than just chatting the ears off randoms at a bus stop, you were like, let's record it. And so here we are.
Here we are.
And I can't believe we've done a series. That's fabulous.
Yeah.
I love that. That gives me joy. If anything, my wish for this would be that it resonated. That the people who want joy go, oh, I wonder if anybody else has heard this. Get on the bus, start sniggering, start going. I tell you what, one thing that happens off the back of this.
People on the bus.
People on the bus. Actually, a group of people on the bus, just randomly, all in a silence as we turn a corner, go.
Oh my God, we're listening to a podcast.
Oh my God. Can you imagine that? And I'd love that. Like just every bus I got onto, I just heard.
That's one hell of a legacy.
Joy. Yeah, it's infectious, just like the laughter. Just like the laughter, just like moods. And I'm sure if you've seen any of those memes, I think it was early meme culture of 2014, something earlier than that. A smile amongst a room of frowns and how that smile is smiling and being defiantly smiley, and how all those unhappy faces start to smile as well. Because as much as we can get massively demotivated by all the horrors of the world, what we can do to actively resist those things is to experience joy, to create it and to be part of it.
And spread it. There's a funny thing about spreading joy that I want to notice is the weird things where it's like, if you let somebody, I don't know, pass on the road or come out of an alleyway when you drive and just give them that little like, go ahead, pass, they will give you the nod and the thumbs up. They will give you a smile. Somebody can't reach the milk on the top shelf. If I grab that for you, it's like, yeah, please. All of those things might seem a little bit insignificant on their own, but the reality is that little bit already gives joy.
Yeah, I get a special joy from, because I'm quite tall, getting things off the shelf down for somebody who's a small person. And going, at the same time as getting the object, is going, go, go, gadget arms. That's great fun. You can help them, or you can help them the way you want to help them, which is great fun. That's joy. It's one of the things that lives in my head rent-free.
You've been listening to the I'm Glad You Exist. If I can, so can you podcast. If you want more from us, you can find us on all the usual social medias. Like, subscribe, follow us, which is the best thing you can do to help us continue making this podcast. And please, never ever forget, you are loved.